Game Preview is brought to you by Proven IT.
Hello again, everybody. Jeff Joniak and Tom Thayer here with you from PNC Studios at Hallis Hall. Welcome to another game preview. It's already week 14 of the season. The Dallas Cowboys on a Thursday night special at Soldier Field. The topic of conversation. My broadcast partner Tom Thayer here. Let's first look back at Thanksgiving. What a terrific performance by Mitchell Trubisky. You know, I'm going to start with looking at what he can build on into the next 4 games. And yes, the Dallas Cowboys are first and foremost, but after the interception he threw in Detroit, he was 10 of 11 and 2 touchdowns. That's the kind of growth that you're looking at here.
Right. Mitch's individual growth is what we're all going to pay attention to, but how does he incorporate the other weapons within the offense? And I think that's the key ingredient here, because the more Mitch can spread the football around, the more advantage you're going to be able to take of the opponent's defense. Wherever their vulnerabilities lie, whether it's they don't have an aggressive pass rush or they have vulnerabilities in the back end of it. So I think Mitch being able to target more players, incorporate the size of a Javon Wims, for instance, over a 6'3" big receiver. So Anthony Miller, what he's done the last 2 days, just spreading that ball around is really develop Mitch.
It's a great 3-game stretch, really, for Anthony Miller. He really came to life, obviously, in Detroit. And the trust, that's the trust, where you can drop it in the bucket and go make a play.
Right. And the trust is making sure the receiver is in the right place, even if you had your eyes closed. And so that's what I like about it, because if you look at the passes that Mitch was able to deliver to the backside, whether it's the touchdown to the tight end or the throws to Anthony Miller late in the game, there was a process of putting in the right players to keep that receiver, that offensive player, in a positive direction.
On the flip side, the Bears defense also finished the job in Detroit with their finish there. And Roquan Smith had himself a heck of a game, 15 tackles and 2 sacks as he moves into now the next phase of the season, the final quarter of the season, with high expectations.
And I think this game is a good indication of Chuck Pagano known as talent, because you knew nothing about the quarterback you were going to play against, and you didn't know how to kind of attack him or prevent him to being successful early in the game. So you kind of sat back and were able to play really good, solid, quality defense against him. But then at the end of the game, in the most meaningful moment, you knew exactly when to attack. And then we see the sacks, the pressures by Roquan Smith, Nick Kwiatkowski, and such. So he knew exactly how to monitor his talent throughout the game.
So now you're back to 500, 6-6. It's for the first time since week 7, and now as late as this is in the season, it is a feel-good moment for a team now that can go about this, continue their one game at a time approach, but knowing that they finally crawled back to ground zero, so to speak. And now the shrinking season of just 1 month to go.
It's amazing the momentum climbing back up will give a football team. It's amazing what a couple losses will do to a team. Both of these teams are 6-6 going forward, talking about the Cowboys and the Bears. But now you're talking about 2 teams that the arrow's pointed down because they're 6-6, and an arrow pointed up.
Yeah, one's lost
because
3 or 4,
6-6.
one's won
right.
3 or 4.
So I really like where the Bears are at. And I think, man, this is set up, and I often refer to it as last year's Rams game. It's this year's Cowboys game.
You know, if you play like you did against the Rams last year,
right,
and
I think they will.
Could very well be. But let's break down a Cowboys team that they do maintain the football. They are second in the league and entering this week in 10-play drives, so they do maintain the ball. With Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott has had an outstanding season, but there have been challenges along the way here in the last month. What have you seen on Dak Prescott?
They're always waiting for Ezekiel Elliott to take care of all the dirty work and what they need in order for the offense to be successful. But then when they put Dak Prescott in a position where he's got to make a big play at the most meaningful moment, and then the opponent dials up the pressure, they put him on the defensive. He's really creative with his legs, but if you make him throw in a defensive position, then you kind of interfere with his perfect throwing motion and then have the opportunity to jump in front. Hey, what is he got, 23 touchdowns already this season?
11 interceptions.
Throwing them all over the place. So he's a very good quarterback. But again, this is still a run-first football team, and that starts up front with the offensive line. And that's a group of guys that really, for what they are, where they're drafted, they're supposed to play better.
9 different guys have caught touchdowns. for them. So the big gun, obviously, Amari Cooper with 64 catches, 971 yards and 7 touchdowns. But they have other weapons. Michael Gallup's having a good year, a young receiver. Jason Witten is still, making plays.
I tell you what, 3rd and 2, 3rd and 3, you better cover Jason Witten because he is going to be the receiver on those types of plays.
Once again, stopping the run game, and this is now several weeks in a row. You're going from Gurley, you're going to Bo Scarborough last week against Detroit. And now you got Ezekiel Elliott, who's just 10 yards away from 1,000 yards. And like you and I have talked about, he hits the hole hard. So he's going to the point of attack, and that's what his deal is.
You know what, their running backs, they have 2 running backs that are averaging over 4 yards a carry. Dak Prescott is averaging 5.8 a carry. Those 3 rushers are really scary because, Ezekiel Elliott, he could be one of the best running backs in the NFL. Watching him a couple weeks ago on tape against the New York Giants, incredibly explosive, but then Dak Prescott is equally as threatening. So you're going to have to contain this whole running game from quarterback to running back.
All right, Leighton Vander Esch on the defensive side of the ball did not play against the Bills. We'll keep an eye on that over the course of the week. But Jalen Smith, the Notre Dame kid, is the leading tackler for these Cowboys.
By 40.
Yeah.
He's got 112 tackles, and the next guy's got into the 72.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a significant separation there.
Yeah, but they have not turned teams over very well. I mean, they only have 4 interceptions. So what is going on with Rod Marinelli's defense?
I don't think they're getting the production out of players that they really thought they were going to get production. Lawrence has 5 sacks, and they expected double-digit sacks out of him by this time. Robert Quinn has 9.5 sacks, but they had expectations of other players that were already there in Dallas to come up and to have big years, and they just haven't developed or delivered like they were thought to.
All right, should be a fun ball game. Bears and Cowboys, a pair of 6-6 teams in the NFC. Bears starting the second half of the season 3-1, as they did the first half of the season at 3-1. Let's see what the mojo brings for the rest of this season.
7-6.
7-6, Tom Thayer. Don't be predicting. Are you predicting?
I'm not predicting.
You stamping it? You rubber stamping this?
Someone's going to be 7-6.
It better be the Bears. All right, that's going to wrap us up for this week. Hope you'll join us on the radio on Thursday Night Football on WBBM. For Tom Thayer, I'm Jeff Joniak. Thanks for watching.